You know how sometimes a story just feels like there's a part missing?
Hmm.
We've got this really fascinating personal account today. It's called Text Calais.
Which sort of translates to pasted text or maybe assembled text.
Exactly. It seems like a collection of personal thoughts maybe put together. And it gives this, well, unique angle on what happened after the Green March in Morocco.
Yeah, and specifically, it focuses on some of the Moroccan volunteers from that march, people who then went on to serve in the military defending the Western Sahara against the Polisario Front. It's
Hmm.
a viewpoint, that often gets lost in the sort of the bigger historical picture.
Right. And just to be clear, our goal here isn't to take sides or anything. We're digging into the claims made in this Text Calais.
Trying to understand what this account tells us about their experiences, especially after the ceasefire happened.
Okay, so it starts with this big moment, right? The Green March. Huge patriotism. Thousands of Moroccans volunteering.
A really powerful image. And this account connects that initial act
Mhm.
to what came next for many of them. Military service in the Sahara, defending Morocco's claims there.
And the author really emphasizes the sacrifices involved.
Yeah.
I mean, lives lost, people taken prisoner. It wasn't easy.
No, absolutely not. And, historically speaking, this kind of transition from a big national event to long-term military duty, then to peacetime, it always raises questions about how soldiers are treated afterwards.
That really leads into the core complaint in this text, doesn't it?
It does. The central grievance, the main point the author seems to be making, is this claim that many soldiers were just dismissed after the ceasefire.
Dismissed without proper process, is that right?
That's the claim. No military trial, no disciplinary hearings mentioned, just out.
Wow. And you can just imagine the effect on their families, not just the soldiers themselves.
Absolutely, especially when you consider the time they put in. The author mentions, participation in around 30 battles?
Yeah, and serving for 10, 14, even 20 years in some cases. That's a huge chunk of someone's life.
A massive commitment. And despite all that, the feeling you get from the text is one of, well, disappointment, maybe even betrayal.
It seems like it. They had these Green March veteran cards given by King Hassan II himself, a symbol of that initial patriotism.
Right, a big deal at the time, you'd think.
But the author claims these cards, in the end, didn't actually secure the rights or the social support they expected or felt they deserved.
Hmm, that disconnect is powerful. And then there's that anecdote the author includes.
Oh, right, the one about King Hassan II visiting the security belt in the 80s, I think?
Yeah, with the crown prince, who's now King Mohammed VI, the author recounts King Hassan II calling the soldiers Akinjakaye, the defenders, those stationed there,
Acknowledging their role.
and supposedly saying they deserved more than, any single state could really offer them, high praise.
Okay, so you have that image. The former king recognizing their immense contribution.
Hmm.
But then,
But then the author contrasts that sharply with their perception of the current situation under the current king.
how so? What's the feeling described?
Feelings of being excluded, marginalized, a sense that the promises, maybe implicit promises from the monarchy about looking after its citizens, haven't really been fulfilled, at least not for them, in their experience.
It's a pretty strong sense of disillusionment coming through.
Definitely. And again, it's so important we emphasize this is the perspective from this source.
Absolutely. We're presenting the claims made in Text Calais, not verifying them independently or endorsing any political view. It's about understanding this particular narrative.
Exactly. It's one voice, one story, offering a glimpse into how these major national events were experienced on a personal level and maybe how that memory is preserved or contested.
So wrapping up our deep dive into this Text Calais, we started with that initial patriotic fervor of the Green March volunteers.
And then moved to their long, often dangerous military service in the Sahara, the sacrifices made.
And landed on these central claims of, well, unjust dismissal after the ceasefire and promises that felt broken despite their service in those veteran cards.
It really leaves you, the listener, with something to chew on, doesn't it?
Yeah, like what does this account suggest about how nations recognize or maybe fail to recognize different kinds of service over the long haul?
It prompts you to think about the complexities, right? The gap between national narratives and individual lives. How do we remember and who gets remembered? A lot to consider there.